Okay, water changes, as you know, are very important. Today I'm going to show you a slightly in-depth guide on how to do water changes. Right here I've got a test kit that I use to make sure nothing is spiking in the water. I usually do this in between my water changes. It is important. It's good to test your water once a week. On this, and water changes on newer tanks should be done once a week for a couple months. Good 25%, and then once your tank is established and is pretty stable, then you can slow it down to every 2 weeks, which is what I do with this tank. This one I gravel vac, but surprisingly I don't gravel vac any of my other tanks. The goldfish tank, I'll just skim some of the junk off the top of the sand, and the South American tank out in the living room, I do not gravel vac because I let nutrients settle in the gravel for the plants to use up. So I'm gonna start. You're gonna need a couple basic things for a water change here. You need a gravel vac to clean the gravel. You're gonna need a hose, preferably this is, I think, half or quarter, no, it's quarter inch. Something to start the siphon, not your mouth. This is just a no return little squeegee valve here. A algae scraper if you need it. Clearly this tank doesn't need it. And then a magnetic glass cleaner that you can use just to clean the biofilm on the inside there. And of course a bucket. You will also need a dechlorinator to make the tap water safe for your fish. Before you start, turn off your heater and your filter. I like to keep my air stone going, just add some circulation while the tank is empty. Turning the heater off for such a short period of time, you should probably have your water change done within 10 minutes, unless you have a very, very large tank like 500 gallons and out. That takes a very long time to do water changes, and usually when you have a tank that big, you'll be using a no-spill python, not buckets like I do. Okay, you're going to start by taking the lid of your tank and moving it back here so you can access your tank here. Move it back. You still want to keep the light on it so you can see what you're doing in there. And then stick your siphon in here. Catch the gravel back. And then just like this, you squeeze it. You can see the water comes out of it. Put that into your bucket. And then you just start vacuuming away. To stop the siphon, you simply just lift the tube out of the water. Okay, now when you have the tank drained like this, you can clean the glass. Okay, now that you've emptied your tank to the desired level that you wanted to empty it to, I was just doing a small little water change. It's only like a 10% water change. But now it's time to refill your tank, and this is the important part when you're refilling your tank. Okay, now that you got your bucket full of water here, you gotta make sure the temperature is within at least 1 or 2 degrees of the water in the fish tank to keep the stress levels down on the fish, because water temperature changes above 4 degrees in temperature difference will affect your fish. So I got this thermometer here. Oops. Thermometer here. Make sure to wash your hands before you do water changes, because your hands will be in the fish's water and that can contaminate things. And don't eat while you're doing a water change. Anyways, I'm just making sure the water temperature is within the range here. Got it pretty close. And then you can just, if it's too warm, just wait for it to cool down a little bit. If it's too hot, empty a little water and add some more warmer water in there until you get it to about the same. Make sure it's about the same before you add it to your tank. Okay, now is the time to add Dechlorinator to your tank right before you fill it up. Don't just dose the amount that you're adding in. Dose a little over. Some people dose the entire aquarium, but I think that's unnecessary because the water that's already in here is already treated. But do add more than what you're gonna add back into the tank. Like I'm adding about 10 more gallons back in. I'm gonna dose it for about 15 gallons. Follow the recommended dosage on the back, and just add it into the tank. Now that you've dosed your tank, all you have to do is add the water back in. It's normal for when you turn your filter back on after a water change for a lot of stuff to start floating around and stuff, just because whatever sitting in your filter now just got all moved up because of you restarting it here. Within an hour this should be sucked up and your tank will be pretty much clear. Alright, now that we got everything back online here, I'll put this lid back on. It's time to do some cleanup. As you can see, there's water all over the place, so mop up the water and then you can clean your glass too.